I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I live and work, the Yuward and Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all First Nations, including Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who may be watching today's episode. Before I start, this is just a reminder, Shit's Fucked is based on my own and guest speakers' experiences with sobriety, mental health and trauma. Each person's experiences and recovery are different. I am now certified in alcohol and other drugs. I am a certified lived experience AOD representative, and I am a lived experience addiction and mental health speaker, hoping to help as many people as I can to create lives they had only ever dreamt of. Welcome to Shit's Fucked. I'm your host, Paris, and I'm here to talk to you about all the shit that is fucked, because why not? Now, just a little bit about me. I was an alcoholic for 17 years. I was a meth addict for 10 years, and I was also caught up in the world of escorting for about 3 years. So it's definitely been a journey. It's been a ride. And you know what? Now I'm just living my fucking best life, a life that I never ever thought I could have. And I'm about, I don't know, a year and a half sober from meth. I've completely changed my relationship with alcohol, and shit is fucking good. It's no longer fucked. And it's honestly, it's been amazing. And I'm so fucking grateful to be here. So the reason I started this podcast is actually because of my own journey through recovery. I realized it was really hard to kind of know exactly where to start. I mean, when I thought of recovery, I was thinking rehab, drug counselors, NA, AA, and none of those options were very desirable. But when I did eventually get to an AOD counselor, and that took me quite a fair time to get there. I think I was like 8 years into my meth addiction before I even stepped into one appointment with them. I started to figure out that there was actually a lot of other really cool resources and programs and support groups that were available. And I just really wanted to create a space and like a platform where people can easily access all this information, because it's really, really hard to navigate through on your own, and to just have it all in one place, I think is really valuable. So, you know, I do actually also interview a lot of other guest speakers, like who might be professionals from the AOD or mental health sectors, or they could be people who are working in coaching, so like personal development, and then of course individuals with lived experience in either mental health or addiction, and kind of getting to hear, you know, their experiences, what paths they took, because that's the other kind of thing that I like to talk about, is that there's not a one size fits all approach. There's so many alternative pathways to healing. And I just want to put all the information in one place so everybody can just make the most informed decisions around their mental and physical well-being. So, you know, the multiple pathways to healing, it's a very deeply personal and unique journey that we all go on. So I would just, yeah. Anyway, that's what started it. That's what started it. So today, our guest speaker is Danny Shannon. And oh my fucking God, are you guys in for a goddamn treat? He is fucking amazing. If you haven't heard of him already, he is quite a big influencer over in Sydney, Australia. And Danny has, yeah, he's had one hell of a ride. He's got quite a journey through addiction himself, and he's, you know, he's been incarcerated before. He's been through it. He's just doing some incredible things now with the community. Like, he is just such a beam of light. I don't even know how else to describe him. He's just a beautiful fucking human being, and just to see where he once was, and to see where he is now, and everything that he's doing on the ground in the community is just, I'm in fucking awe. He is just, Danny Shannon. He's so good. So fucking good. And he's even developed an app called Encapsulator, which is a video journaling app where you can go through these programs, and it basically can really help you not only with your personal development, but stepping through the recovery journey in regards to addiction and maintaining that recovery as well. So all super super fucking powerful. He's and he's doing even more than that. Like, that is just a tip of the iceberg. That is a small fraction of what this kid's getting up to. But yeah, incredible human. Obviously, I just want to provide a trigger warning. There is obviously a lot of talk about, the lifestyles and active addiction. But yeah, just be mindful. Just be mindful. It is sensitive content, and just make sure you take care of yourself as well. So I'm not even going to say I hope you enjoy it, because I know you fucking will. But yeah, enjoy. And welcome to the show, Danny Shannon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Paris, hey, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. It's about time we made this happen.
I know. When did we first contact each other?
Well, I remember I was in the gym, actually. I remember I got your message, and I messaged you straight back, and I think I'd seen you around before that, but we connected about something, probably to do with, it might have even been Encapsulator, or it might have been something to drug, or maybe it's through a third connection.
It was Chuck. It was Chuck from Ashes to Awesome. The jumper.
The Chuck.
You love Ashes to Awesome.
Yeah, perfect. Well, there you go. That's how we connected, and I know then I actually made some content about you. I think, well, maybe I didn't name you actually, but
you didn't. Yeah.
The topic hit a spot for me, and it was something around all different forms of recovery. And one of the things that I've been really blessed today to be connected with an audience from all around the world, thousands and thousands of people, and I've learned so much from people. I came into recovery with quite a closed mind through the form of recovery that I was doing, and today I support anyone who thinks and believes their life is moving forward.
Absolutely, and I remember that vividly, because I think we'd done. It was a post where I was shared my before and after of me battling addiction, and then I copped a lot of backlash because I said I think I said I was abstinent from meth, but I was very honest, and I said, I have changed my relationship with alcohol. Like, I do still drink sometimes. And then I got a lot of hate about that, and just, not truly being in recovery, playing games. And I was like, what?
In Paris, is that what happened? So I posted something about you, and it had the alcohol bit in it, and then you copped some backlash from that, eh? See what I mean? That just pisses me off so much to even hear that. Like, how dare you judge somebody else's recovery? And that goes to all the people out there who want to bag other people's recovery. Like, I would just worry about focusing on yourself,
100%. And that was literally the exact rant you went on the last time.
Yeah, good. I did, because I honestly think people don't, we're living in this world of social media as well, and there is these things we call trolls. In fact, there's one up on my board, you can't see him. But and look, I understand that, hurt people, and also, people like to hide behind words. For some reason, people enjoy bagging other people. Some people do. But it really, recovery is it's life and death, and people want to be throwing shit around like that. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was the other point that I think that you made as well when you responded to it, which, thank you for responding to it. You didn't need to, but it was one of those things where you acknowledge that, I guess for myself, I was further along in my recovery. So even though it was still shitty, I was like, fuck you, man. It was one of those things where I was further along in my recovery that wasn't going to hinder my process. I was just like, whatever, this guy's a prick. But for someone else who was probably new in recovery and, really just trying to get their grasp on things, that could have been catastrophic. That could have sent them backwards.
What a great start to this interview. I should just say at this point too, because people might not realize this. Like I do come from this model of total abstinence. I haven't had a drink or a drug for 14 years, 10 months today. June,
Congrats.
July, August, September. 14 years, 9 months today. So um,
Congrats.
so yeah, thank you. But and in that journey, I did the 12-step fellowship, and I owe my whole life to the 12 steps um and the ability that were the choices that I made to go total abstinence. And in that journey, probably 12 years or 11 of those years, I really was brainwashed by this fact that the only way to recover is um is by doing it my way. Well, it wasn't
Yeah.
my way. It was the 12-step way, and that was total abstinence. But look, I had good reason, and I truly believe for me it is the only way for me to recover.
Mm.
I tried hypnosis. I tried fucking injection, those naltrexone injections. I
Oh,
went
yep,
to
yep.
religious rehabs. I did every bloody detox and rehab in the public system in Sydney. None of it worked. And finally, this time around, I basically just did everything different. And today I'm blessed to be 14 years, 9 months clean and sober. But in my journey of sharing my stories the last 5 or 6 years, I've discovered so many other forms of recovery. And at first, this is crazy, but at first, when people would tell me that they still drank on weekends or whatever, but they're clean from their drug of choice, I thought they're lying about being happy. Like that's how fucking brainwashed I was. I thought you're lying. Like maybe you don't realize you're lying, but you're lying about being happy. You're actually not.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say that exactly to them, but that's what I thought.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And look, I've had that experience with a lot of people as well. Like, and it's honestly one of those things where I feel like that also can come from a place of your own fear, like your own fear about your own recovery. And so it's like you
Oh, I'm
see someone
scared.
else do it, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh, oh,
yeah,
oh God.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm scared shitless to like I really am. And again, for me, that really works. And I often talk about being thinking. Let's say if I said a statement like, "Every day I can think about what it'd be like if I picked up. I'm scared to pick up." Like it's an easy thing for me to say that because it's not as if I'm quivering in my boots, but that keeps me on track, But people can also think, "Oh, you poor bloke, Danny. You're still 14 years down the track. You're still scared about picking up." But it
I
works for
mean,
me.
yeah. I mean, honestly, it's whatever works for you, hey. And this has kind of been the perfect lead way into what we're actually talking
Yeah,
about today,
yeah.
which
Love it,
which
bro.
is which is abstinence the only way to recover. So we'll
Yeah.
actually just dive straight on in here, and I'll ask you your first question. So, can you give us a brief rundown on your personal journey with addiction and how it led you to where you are today? So, we've touched on it already, but I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, mate. I spent 17 years, probably 18 or 19 from the age of 14 when I first picked up, but I spent 17 years basically addicted to heroin. From the age of 15 to 34, I used and abused every substance known to man in Australia, but my drug of choice or drug of no choice was heroin. That was my favorite. I also, the last 6 or 7 years of my using career, I abused a lot of methamphetamines. I was using amphetamines right from the beginning. It was one of the very first drugs I picked up: LSD, pot, alcohol, cocaine, all those ones before the age of 15, like from 14,
Yeah,
which isn't that long.
wow.
But when I picked up heroin for the first time, if all those other drugs were a problem, they were nothing compared to heroin, mate, because I never
Mm.
missed a day basically for the next 17 years on heroin. So yeah, look, and in that time, I was locked up by the age of 16. I was in big boys prison by my 18th birthday, and then I spent the majority of my time between 18 and 28 locked up, all pretty much just drug related offences, stealing cars, breaking enters, possession, high speed police pursuits, just not even pretty proud to say I don't think I've ever even had one assault charge in my record. I'm a gentle giant. Well, maybe I'm not that big, but anyway, um, but yeah, mate. My lowest of low would have been using dirty needles in the back of flats in Cabramatta. Couldn't wait
Mm.
to get my fix into me that I would just literally pick up a dirty fit from the back of the flats. I'd flush it 3 times with water, and I'd mix up my gear. You know, other times I'd had times where people, this is terrible, but someone's overdosed beside me. I'll steal their drugs first, and then I'll call the ambulance. I didn't just leave them. At least I called the ambulance. Um,
Yep.
I stole from family. All the
Mm.
low shit. You know. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
little brief introduction to what led me to where I am today. Paris, how did this
You did
anything?
excellent. You did excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Danny. It sounds like you've been through quite a journey.
Paris, can I just say, like I have, I guess, but to me, like, maybe I've healed, right? But I look back at that stuff, and it's all like if I'm supporting someone in it, I really feel for them. I've got the empathy, I've got the compassion. But
I hear that.
when I look at my story, I didn't mention I got this beautiful mum. Mum gets a shout out every single podcast, right? So I got this beautiful mum. Okay, she taught me all my values and morals. My mum did her best to stick by me throughout my entire addiction. There was years when she wouldn't visit me in jail, when she had to cut me off. Okay, I
Mm.
highly encourage any loved one to participate in a bit of tough love, but she never gave up. I also have this amazing dad whose nickname is Shonky. He taught me everything I shouldn't know. Like my dad taught me everything about being a criminal, basically. Like he introduced me to not so much drugs, but introduced me to or supported me through all my addiction with putting in orders for stolen equipment. He never really reprimanded me. He always let me get away. Now that's crazy too. So I've got this beautiful, loving mum who I learn all my values and morals, and then I've got this shonky dad, whose name's Tony, who it was the yin and the yang, and but so that's what led. So where I was going with that was I didn't have a horrific childhood. Nothing like
Mm.
some of the sad stories that I hear today, and I'm so sorry to anyone out there who's going through domestic violence, SA, being, any kind of abuse. My heart goes out to you, and I also want you to know that I truly believe that there's lots of help available. One thing that we need to do is speak up, and if you ever want to reach out to me, I'm happy to answer any messages from anyone, from anywhere. Unless you're a perpetrator of the childhood stuff, you can just like that for me. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, jog on.
You can cut that out if you want, Paris. But yeah, I need to just feel this need to say that because I've also got this beautiful 7-year-old daughter who, you know, I worked in drug and alcohol rehabilitation for a solid 10 years, and I listened to so many horrific stories in that time. I was a counselor, I was a case manager, I ran groups, and today I got out of that job. I did get the sack, but apart from that, I got out of that job because um, it would have broke me in the end. I could not continue
Yeah.
to listen to people's trauma. And today I pretty much don't. I share my stories in this arena and I share around the social and emotional impacts that addiction
Mm.
had on me and my loved ones. And somehow by not connecting too deeply on a one-on-one level, I did say reach out to me. I respond to probably 30 plus messages a day, but I just do it through the audio feature. It doesn't get too deep. I'll refer people onto the services they need because I can't listen to your trauma too much. People often dump on me, but oh my God, Paris, you should see some of the messages I get from people telling me that they're about to, um, to take
Mm.
unalive themselves and they've copped this and that. Oh my God, it crushes me. It's
Yeah.
absolutely horrible. But who am I to not listen and like I always respond appropriately, but
You do.
I just want to say that stuff breaks me. Like I will think about that shit for the next 24 hours if I get a horrific message, you know? People don't
Yeah.
realize that, you know? But
Oh,
anyway,
definitely. You've got such a big heart, Danny. And you know what? I think it's kind of a testament to who you are as a person, the fact that people feel safe enough to come to you
yeah.
and
That is
share. So
crazy.
yeah, you're their safe space. And honestly, the amount of people, when I've ever shared a post on my platform, the amount
Yeah.
of people that I've seen comment and been like, "Oh my god, Danny Shannon, like
Oh,
has saved my life. He keeps me on track
oh,
every day." You know, they live for your content because you are
no.
so inspiring and people really can connect with you, man. Like you're really relatable. Like you've been through some shit. So like I know you were kind of trying to minimize
Yeah, I
what
did.
you've been through a bit, but you've been through some shit. Like you have. And
Yeah,
you
sure,
know,
sure.
you
Well,
have, you have. And
you
it's not about comparing or anything like
no,
that. No one's worse off, no one's better off. But like, you've got a lot of value and wisdom to share. It's
thanks, Boris. Thanks.
invaluable, the experiences and the knowledge that you have now. Like you're literally saving lives.
That's really nice. I appreciate it. You know what it is? I think I often ask people their their number on a scale of 0 to 10. Okay, I ask this when people are suffering from addiction too, and abusing whatever substance. But I often ask people, "What is your number?" So on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 equals you're sad, miserable, unhappy, life is fucked. 0 equals life is shit, and 10 equals you're chuffed and full of gratitude. In fact, your happiness annoys your friends. Like, so I try and get that number first from people too. And if your number is above a 5 or a 6, like I think maybe what you're doing could be working. Maybe you could tweak it a little bit. But I think it's the level of happiness that I bring. By the way, my number is often a 9. I don't ever say 10. I don't know why. I've got this thing where I always want to leave room for improvement. People often challenge me on that. They say, Danny, but right now I do feel a 10. Well, that's great. Who am I to? But I always want to have, I sometimes hit 9.5.
Yep.
But so where I'm going with this is I often have a cheerful attitude, and I honestly am. I'm happy, mate. I've got the best life. I live a life beyond my wildest
It
dreams.
radiates from you, Danny. It really
People
does. You're
reckon that
glowing. You're
people
glowing.
reckon they can hear me smile, which is that is one of the most
Yes.
beautiful comments I've ever had. I can hear you
That is
smile through an
lovely. I
audio
love
message.
it.
They say that. Crazy, anyway.
Oh, that's so sweet. I actually
It
love
is.
that
It's
so
a
much.
beautiful thing.
It's so true though. I can really, yeah, I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah.
For
Thank
sure. So I wanted to ask you what kind of led you to, I guess, moving into your battles with addiction, because you were mentioning, your mum was a real rock for you. She taught you some really strong values and morals. Your dad was a bit shonky. Like what actually happened that sent you down that path?
you. Yeah, I'm surely other people are going to relate to this too, because not well, Gabo Mate says that addiction comes from pain. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm gonna. Is that like I just heard that last night? I know I've heard that many times before, but I'm gonna challenge it somewhat because I just love drugs. I picked them up at the age of 14. I got drunk, stoned, and on the nitric oxide. That's the nangs.
yes.
Stay away from the nangs. If you're going to use
So
anything,
bad.
don't use them fuckers, mate. But I got drunk, stoned, and high on the nitric oxide the first time I got stoned, and I just really liked it, and I just continued to do it. Now, of course, my dad wasn't around. I was running amok. I was 14. I was living by myself up in Bundaberg at times while my dad would be overseas. Every time he'd come back, we'd be kicked out of another flat because I'd fucking trashed it and the landlord had got wind that I was there running amok. But mate, and look, so for the first year and a half when I was abusing, as I said, amphetamines, LSD, cocaine, pot, anything but heroin, it just I was just I don't want to just say just being a kid because I hope to God no other 14-year-old is out there doing that. But when I picked up heroin, it's just like, so to answer your question, after 14 and a half years of working on myself, I'm telling you, it wasn't from pain for me. I just had this bit of a risky, um, brave, stupid outlook at life. And I just wanted to be a bit of a daredevil, and I just wanted to be a bit crazy.
I mean, I hear what you're saying because, like, I think it's true in the sense that obviously it does come from pain. Trauma is a big part of it, but there's the other side where people genuinely just fall into it either because their friends are doing it and it seems to be cool, or it's just something that you start to really
Yeah,
enjoy, and
yeah.
you just like the sensation that it gives you. So yeah, I think it's easy to go either way.
Paris, I should mention the day I picked up heroin, but this is big thing is it was through peer pressure. You just made a great point. Even though I say I was a bit of a daredevil. Like the day I picked up heroin, I'll set the scene right. I pulled up in a yellow Gemini. It's 19 fucking 85. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
1985. And actually it's 1990. Sorry, it's 1990. Right?
Yeah,
It's
nice.
1990. I pull up in this yellow Gemini with me mate in the back seat and a couple of older boys driving, and we pulled up at this house, and this house was the dude that knew where to buy heroin, right? And I remember
Mm.
sitting in the back, and my old mate sitting beside me said, "Wait, let's get some heroin, Danny." I was already using some of the other substances with him, and I remember that day thinking, "Fuck," like I say I remember because I think I remember. I remember sitting there feeling this is a really bad idea.
Mm.
But he was keen and he was a bit more reckless than me, by the way, my mate. Um, Bless him, he's absolutely ruined now from methamphetamines. But he said, "No, let's
Mm.
do it." And I said, "All right, let's go." And 30 minutes later, I'm sitting in a flat in Cabramatta with no carpet, no furniture. It was just a drug dealer's flat. The drug dealer's name was Wok. I later went on to do prison with Wok a couple of years down the track. He was injecting me with heroin, and if up until that point I'd made mistakes and I had, as I said before, that was the beginning of the end, Paris. That
Mm.
day I first injected heroin was the beginning of 17 years of just bullshit, like 17 years of the pain, hurt, and misery. Of course, there was good times, but really, the good times there wasn't really. Like I
Yeah, there
didn't.
were good times though.
Yeah, like, of course, like I was high. Okay, you could say that's a good time, but I wasn't. Mate, I spent the next 17 years on the nod dribbling, basically. Like, it's not as if I was
Mm.
in clubs, bouncing around fucking on the eckies and shit. I was on heroin. Like, I would use all that, but I'd always have heroin. Always have heroin. So heroin would always just calm me the fuck back down. So I basically spent the next 17 years just I like that, just dribbling.
Mm.
So, so yeah,
I
that's
hear.
peer pressure. But peer pressure did to answer your question. That's one of the things. I probably would have done it anyway. I would have. We can be sure of it.
Yeah, and look, I hear you there as well. Like, I think the genetics as well does play a part in the sense of whether you've got an addictive personality. So I've got a very addictive personality. So
Yeah,
when I was introduced to things, I just went absolute balls to the wall with it.
yeah, yeah. We do, don't we, Paris? It's and look, that's definitely a part of it. Um, but you know what? Like everyone has that, I think, in them in some capacity. Maybe it's not addictive
Definitely.
substances. It's a human trait, yeah. It's human
Yeah,
nature.
absolutely. You see us with our mobile phones, like we're
Yeah,
addicted.
yeah. Well, there you go. It's human nature, and we like to change the way we feel. If something feels good, I abuse it. You
Yeah.
know,
I think we're
and
all seeking
heroin,
that dopamine rush for
yeah,
sure.
and heroin felt
Mm.
good. Yeah. Yep, yep,
So I
yep, yep.
hear. That was the one thing I didn't do because I was too scared to go down that route because I knew myself and I knew I'd go balls to the wall. So I was like,
Thank goodness, Paris, because if you did, you would either be dead, um, on the nod, or in jail, or probably not here doing, or in recovery, living the dream. There
who
is that
knows?
option, of
Who
course.
knows? But my life could have taken an even more drastic turn. And I actually even did live temporarily with someone who was a heroin addict, and so I had access to it. But just watching her and what she was going through, I was like, oh my god, this is like the scariest drug I have ever encountered. Like, and I was a meth junkie, so
Yeah,
I
nah,
found heroin way scarier than meth.
yeah, yeah. I would just on that. I would say meth is way more putrid, man. Meth is the fucking most insidious.
It is pretty
Like in
bad.
Australia, at least heroin. And mate, at least I got clean on heroin, even though I was abusing ice in the end. But at least I didn't look fucking. Anyway, meth is putrid, man. Meth is the
It
most
is. It
putrid
is. It
drug.
is bad. It is bad. Definitely don't want to say it's not.
No,
It
no,
is one
no.
of the worst. One of the worst. But so thankful that I didn't go down the path of
Just
heroin
wanted to
as
remind
well.
you of that because you're an actual miracle to be looking so incredible, Paris, and to have come through that too. Heroin. The thing about heroin is it kills you. Way
Yeah.
quicker. Like people. I'll mention this. Like in my time in recovery, there's been 100+ people who are no longer with us, and 90
Mm,
seven of them has been from heroin overdose. There's been a couple of
mm.
you know people taking their lives and alcohol related deaths, but I've lost 100 people. People I hugged, people I shook hands with, who are no longer with us. And you got to
So
imagine
sad.
I'm in a part of the 12-step fellowship too. Like I know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in recovery. So, but it's a fact. It's a statement. It's true. So yeah, like heroin is way more deadly, but ice is just putrid.
Yeah, it just really changes who you are as a person, and I entered psychosis so many times. That was really scary because I didn't even know what reality was anymore, and that was terrifying because I'd be having conversations with myself, thinking there was someone I was talking to someone in the room, and like just coming out of that, terrifying,
It's just
terrifying.
horrible. Yep, yep.
Yeah, it is. So what was your turning point? Like what did you do, or like when did you realize, enough is enough, and what did you decide to do about it?
Okay, so in my journey from the age of probably 18, from the age of 18 to when I finally got clean, I started going to detox. Probably 17. I was probably my first detox was Basement 82. Wow, I remember being there, mate. I remember one of the workers, Sean. Um, First detox was Basement 82. That was part of RPA Hospital. That's no longer around anymore. There was also another one called McKinnon Lodge, or McKinnon House. I started going there as well. That's no longer around. And I'm saying this because 3 or 4 or 5 of the rehabs, I've been to so many rehabs. I've done every detox and every rehab in Sydney multiple times. I often relay my story as 49 attempts at getting clean. So 49 detoxes, rehabs. I was known on a first name basis at some of the Sydney programs. Even today, of course, the staff there know me if I'm to call up. Like, and I am a walking miracle considering all of that. But finally, on my 50th attempt at detox and rehab, I entered a place called Herbert Street Clinic. I'd been there many times before. I went to Herbert Street Clinic. I took drugs into detox like I did pretty much every other time. Um,
Mm.
I I got out of detox only just starting to hang out because I'd used pretty much the whole time I was in there. I went to a short-term program in Roselle called Foundation House. I want to give a shout out to these programs because if it wasn't for those programs, I wouldn't be here today. So I did a short-term program in Roselle called Foundation House, and then I went on to do another program called Glebe House, which so I did 4 months in rehab, and then I went on to a halfway house for the next fucking 4 years. I stayed in a halfway house. Now that's terrible. I really abused the system, staying in a halfway house for 4 years. But let me tell you, it was the best decision of my life, because what I did was it gave me an opportunity to start saving money, build myself structure, be around people using, but also be around people who are on a similar journey to me. So the halfway houses, just for the record, Hume Housing, community housing. There's a bunch of places here in Sydney that you can go. They're clean houses. You need to be
Mm.
sober to live there. But mate, and in that time, I started working 1 day a week, 2 days a week. I did everything by the book. It's just insane, like in my 49 attempts to get clean, I did it my way. I did it my way. Like nothing ever worked. Like because I was never ever serious about nothing. But this final time around, and one of the questions that used to piss me off in rehab, Danny, is like, Danny, what are you gonna do different this time? Right? Well, actually, I didn't have to change much. I just had to change everything. And I had to do every single thing different. And what I
Yeah.
did was I started working on myself. I literally started doing writing every day, 5 things that I was grateful for. I started doing a journal every day. What did I do good today, Danny? Is there something I could do better tomorrow? And I'd say a little prayer. It was something that was important for me. I started connecting with some kind of a higher power. I started doing that part-time work, and before you know it, Paris, I had a couple of years clean. I did 12-step fellowship meetings every day. My whole life for the first 5 years was surrounded around going to a 12-step fellowship meeting in the morning and the afternoon. I was working. By 5 years, I was working full time, but you would find my ass at a meeting every single day. Like, here's my solution to recovery. Okay, this is what I came up with. It's 51% recovery and 49% life. As long as I put
Yes.
the majority of my life into recovery, everything else comes in place. Another little saying I've got is it's I it's 51% nerds of recovery and 49% knockabout. So what that means is, let me tell you, it's not fucking Saints Anonymous. I did not start becoming like a saint at all. I hung around a lot of shady people. I love talking shit. There's nothing better than me talking shit, because I hate getting intimate and talking about feelings. I don't do it, but it's always
Mm.
my priority. I always put that stuff first. And mate, it's been the perfect recipe for me to live a fulfilling life. I started studying at 2.5 years clean. Let me tell you, I know when people enter recovery these days, well, I've seen in my network that people get clean 60 days or 6 months and they want to start helping people. Mate, the last thing on earth I wanted to do was help anyone for my first few years. I was incredibly selfish, self-seeking. I couldn't listen to people's shit. I was so uncomfortable in my skin. Like I hated who I was, even though I was laughing and I was clean and I was starting to have these spiritual awakenings. I just felt so incredibly uncomfortable in my skin. I couldn't stand who I was. But 2.5 years down the track, I was working my ass off. I was doing some 17-hour days, carrying around. Funny story. I was a bar. I was running bars at sporting
Oh,
events.
wow.
Yeah, I was running bars at sporting events. So I was literally running around hooking up kegs, carrying kegs around, cases of beer. Hard work, right?
Mm.
By the way, on that note, I don't recommend people do that, but whatever. That's what I mean. I'm a fucking rebel. People told me you can't do this. Well, I'm gonna fucking do it. But
Yeah.
but like I said, I still went to a meeting every night. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, by the time I started studying, I thought, I can't work like this no more. This is ridiculous. I'm killing myself. All the injuries I'd obtained through my using, by the way, I fell out of a third-story window
Oh
trying to
my
get drugs.
gosh.
I had a motorbike accident out the front of Cabramatta Police Station. I smashed my
Oh my
head
god.
into another car. I was in a coma for 3 days, broken femur and brain injuries. I
Oh
cut my
gosh.
Achilles tendon in half. It sprung up my leg. Skip
Youch.
graphic details, and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So by the time I entered recovery, I was damaged goods, mate. Like my right leg is, it's like it's handicapped, my right leg. But so I thought maybe I could start helping people when I was 2.5 years clean. And sure enough, Paris, I put, here's one more saying, if you put just 10% of the effort that you put into your using, if you take 10% of that fucking hard work I did to get on, get stoned, get smashed every single day, if I put just 10% of that effort into my recovery and into my life, you're going to live a life beyond your wildest dreams. And that's exactly what I'd done. I put just, I actually reckon I took 50% of that effort. I put so much effort. I have
Probably a
lived,
hundred.
yeah,
It's
hey,
probably 100%. Sounds
yeah.
it.
Look, Paris, right from the beginning, I was so scared. I was petrified. I hated every single moment of the early days, but I just kept fronting up. I kept being brave. I had faith. I did all the things that they told me to do as well. Like they told me to call my sponsor every day. I was thinking, what the fuck do I have to call this guy for again? I ring him. If he didn't answer, by the way, that's a bonus. That counts. He doesn't even have to answer. It's about the action that we put. It's about putting in those things in place. And yeah, look, sorry, that's just a little, sorry, that was a big rant, but that's
You're
how
fine.
that's how I got to where I am today.
Yeah.
It was that passion and that um, structure and that routine and basically that vigilance that's got me to where I am today.
It sounds like you had a lot of willpower actually. Like, where did that willpower come from? Like, I mean, you attempted 49 times before, and then on the 50th, you were just like, yep,
Yeah,
let's do this.
you know what it comes from? Keep your eyes open for the wins, like stop focusing on the fucking negatives, so like I always did, and look for the positives. Today I'm a glass half full kind of guy, right? But my entire addiction and certainly the first few years in recovery, I was a pessimist and like this isn't gonna work and that didn't work. But if I started to look for the wins, and if you can get one little win each week, well, this is what happened for me. I continued to see the milestones. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
and if you focus on the things you're good at, if you focus on your assets, you strangle your defects. Like all the shit. The more energy you put into the good stuff, the shit stuff just starts to dissipate and go away. Now,
Yeah.
people can get caught in the victim mentality. I'm going to say victim mentality because this poor me attitude. This you are responsible. I am responsible for my recovery. Okay,
Mhm.
maybe I had not such a horrible childhood, and I know some people have horrible childhoods, but it doesn't. It does matter, but what matters for me is now. Okay, and if I can't put the effort into making a difference right now, nobody else can do this for me. This is my attitude. I can pay fucking $10 million. It's not going to help me. I need to do this myself. So the minute I started to realize, the minute I surrendered, the minute I realized, stop fucking whinging, Danny, and start doing, that was the day my life started to take a different direction.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I think that's so important that you mentioned that because, our thoughts are our reality, right? So if we're constantly thinking, negative things or focusing on the negative things in our life, our reality will be shit. So if you start focusing on the positives, your perspective, your reality will change, your life will change.
I,
It's
I
it's
see, yeah,
powerful.
I see it every day, Paris. It's painful. It's painful to watch people in that. And look, please, I hope no one takes this wrong, but like it really, like you got to call it out. Like you need to name it too. Like if you're in that self pity, yeah. And I was in it for a long time.
Me
Um,
too. Me too.
but
Don't worry.
self pity is such an ugly fucking, and it's not helping you. Like,
No.
doesn't everyone want to be better? Like, if we want to be better, like I know it's easy for me to say this in hindsight. Okay, I get that. If you're listening and if you're in it, but I also want to say again, you're the one in charge. No one else can fucking fix this for you. You got to do it. So get up, front up, and start doing what needs to be done.
Amen, Danny. Amen.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Yeah. So
Hallelujah.
I'm just going to look at some of the questions over here.
No,
I'm pretty good at this. I've done a lot of this, so I kind of try and cover a lot
no,
of your
you're
questions.
so fun. We'll move on to the next question, which
Yeah,
is
please.
you mentioned being involved in the 12-step program during your recovery. So,
Yeah.
how did this program influence your early stages of recovery? So, we kind of have already touched on that
Yeah, we
a little
have.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I was I, it's a bit of it's a weird one because I said before I did everything I did everything by the rules. I followed all the suggestions, but then I also wouldn't be told what to do. So what I mean by that is here this is the best way I can explain that. Every bad thing I did, all right, and I did lots of um not suggested things, right? Every not suggested thing I did two good things. So um and what to answer your question, I was brainwashed by Narcotics Anonymous, right? I believed if I didn't do all of this stuff, if I didn't get connected, if I didn't find myself a sponsor, a mentor, if I didn't find myself a higher power, if I didn't do daily meetings, and if I didn't give back, I was going to die, basically. That was my
Yeah.
mentality, right? So I had to do all of that. For some reason, I got that. And it's true, I did have to do all of that. But by doing all of that, I did plenty of like I'll give you some examples of me playing up, like hooking up with chicks, you know, who they told me I shouldn't do that. Hooking up with chicks, drinking, using with chicks who are using, stealing shit, steal from the shops, you know, shoplifting, um, gambling in my early days, being in the fucking playing the pokies, just shitty feel goods, things like that. You know, there's some more extreme examples I won't go into, but so those are the things. But if I did anything like that, I needed to do two good things.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was my little solution. But the 12-step fellowship, it influenced me very, very, very heavily, Paris. And I say I was brainwashed by the 12-step fellowship, but let me tell you, my brain needed washing. Like it was filthy. yeah. Yeah. It needed
No, and I hear what you're saying. Like, and you know, for any listeners out there, we're definitely not discouraging anyone to give 12 steps a go or to go to NA or AA. Like, highly encourage it. Highly encourage it. I know for myself, I had similar experiences. I wasn't in it for as long as you. I literally only lasted 3 months and then I couldn't stand it. But it really did help me though to get sober from alcohol for 3 months, which was something I'd never done in the whole 17 years that I was addicted to
Yeah.
alcohol. So you know
Wow.
what I mean? Like that was huge. That was a massive thing. And even though to this day now, like I do sometimes still drink, it's like probably once or twice a month, if that. Now I'm questioning if there's even a point to that now. So who
That's
knows?
what might
But
happen.
it's what
You might. You might. In the end, you might
I
give
just
that
don't
away
like
too.
it anymore. I don't
There you
like
go.
it. So like my relationship with it has really changed. Like anytime I do have it, I'm like, oh, why did I even bother? I'm not enjoying this,
Yeah.
not liking it.
Yeah.
But like AA was really good in that sense of just getting me dry for 3 months because it was the fear that was kind of motivating. However, the reason I left was because that fear really started to change me as a person, and I didn't like who I was seeing. So I felt really disempowered. I was constantly on edge. I felt like I couldn't go anywhere without being like triggered and having a meltdown. Like couldn't go into a bar, couldn't go like anywhere where I could see alcohol. And it was because I realized, like, even my drug counselor actually said this to me, and I was like, I don't understand why I have like such huge fears now. And then she was basically saying, well, in 12 step, it's really common to be repeating a lot of the things that you've been through, a bit of your war stories, stuff like that. And the way that the subconscious mind works is that we take in information in really subtle ways that can be quite impactful. So, for example, if I say, don't think of a yellow car, don't think of a yellow car, what are you thinking of?
Yeah, of course. The
Yeah,
yellow
yellow
car.
car, yeah. So,
Yeah,
if you're saying don't drink, you can't, like, you can't do this, you can't do that, like, you're just going to constantly be thinking about that. Like, and it's
yeah,
just going
it's
to be on the
really
forefront of your mind.
it's really interesting. I can't believe that I'm so open to all this new stuff now. And do you know what? Like, I'm telling you, I guarantee you, people in the 12 Step Fellowship that were involved as much as me, hearing me say that, right? That I can't believe I'm looking at other options. What they're thinking is, he's about to pick up a drink, this guy. He's going to fuck up, Which is the bullshit
Absolutely.
mentality.
But
It's that
that's the
same brainless
fear. That's the
bullshit.
fear.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
where
So,
I've started to feel like there's just so much fear centered around the 12
yeah.
step program. And I was like, I don't like this. Like, and I lost friends over it. I had people who, when I said it wasn't for me, it was like, well, you're a lost cause. And I was like, well, I'm still doing good. Like, I haven't gone backwards at all in any capacity. So I don't understand. But anyway, whatever.
Totally, totally.
Oh my gosh. So I guess moving on to my next question, when did you actually start questioning the belief that abstinence and the 12-step program were the only paths to recovery?
Um, okay, so let's be clear. I still believe that total abstinence is the only way for me. Okay,
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
I consider alcohol to be a drug, and a drug is a drug is a drug. I don't give a fuck what you call it, whatever. For me, I do not. I love the idea that people think, oh, you can't even have a drink. What about, mate? I don't want to put a substance in my body. I do
It's
not
such
want
a
to.
poison.
Yeah, I don't want to change the way I feel. I want to feel good from smashing the gym, or or I want to feel sad because I'm fucking sad. I want to feel that shit. I don't want to try and
Yeah.
cover it up. So, but to answer your question, I started probably about 3 years ago. At about 11 years sober, I started to open my mind up, and I needed 11 years of solid building a foundation to open my mind up that maybe your recovery is good for you too.
Hmm.
That's all. Like, again, I'll just reintegrate. Like, I think our recovery equals our level of happiness. Like, if when I say recovery equals our level of happiness, like, who am I to say what doesn't work for you? But if you want help, reach out. If it's not working, reach out. I'll try and show you a bit more about what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, recovery in itself is essentially what that means is an improvement of your quality of life. So, whatever that looks like for
Yes.
you, if
Yes.
it's an improvement from what it was before, you're in recovery.
Yeah, I love that. That's in the dictionary, isn't it? I've read that too. It's
That
literally the definition, isn't
is
it?
the definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these people that want to start putting limitations on everything. But whatever. It's
Yeah.
human
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah, well, let's dive more into what you're up to now. So you've come so far in your journey and you have achieved so many accomplishments, particularly now as a business owner. So what inspired you to create Encapsulator, and could you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, I'd love to. Look, it's taken me 48 minutes to get to talk about my business, even though you didn't ask. But let me just say, right, I'll tell you why it's been such a long journey because I'm too busy talking about and helping people before I even give my business a plug. But the thing is, Encapsulator is a video journal mobile app and online program where you can explore your feelings and help you identify your hopes, your dreams, your fears, your future aspirations. We provide a safe space for individuals to express themselves without any fear of judgment. So, Paris, as you can imagine, as people on our own journey, we have fronts and masks on. And when we go and see a professional, we always hide something, you know. Well, if you don't,
Hmm.
good for you. And I'd love to have a chat with you. But I think it's my experience, and I've learned that we always have something to hide. Well, imagine having a program that's guided through on screen prompt questions that will ask you questions. These questions will help you identify what's going on for you, will help guide you on your journey of personal development and discovery. And the idea is when we verbalize our goals and our dreams out loud, this makes it like it's very beneficial because it keeps us accountable and motivated. We reflect on what we said after the fact. And one of the most powerful things that Encapsulator does is it helps us break down some of the barriers. It gives us this safe space to start talking about and creating a language, naming the problem. Once we share something once, a problem shared is a problem halved. It way more likely increases the chances of us seeking the professional help that we need when we're ready. So, literally, Encapsulator is a self counseling tool, um, encouraging individuals to talk about some of the stuff that they've never spoken about before. And in turn, by doing so, we believe that, you know, you will seek the help you need, or maybe our tool is enough for you to explore that stuff and start opening up to your friends and family and getting the help that you need as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it's available on iOS and Android. It's also available online. We have 30 plus expert design programs. We've got a program for everyone. The recovery and beyond is my program, guys. It's quite a very detailed program that has a whole bunch of training from the coach.
And do you go
But
like step by step through it? Like, is that kind of how it works?
yeah, so basically, you'd start your program. There'll be an intro video from me welcoming you to recovery and beyond. On the completion, I'll tell you a little bit about the program. And the program is basically my recovery in a nutshell. I've captured the steps that I took around getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is the stuff we've spoken about here. Talk
Mm.
building yourself a routine, mental, spiritual, physical. Also
Yes.
identifying what our problem was, and what I do then is I share these in different activities. And after every activity, I ask you to go ahead and hit the add entry button below where you will come up on camera and you can start recording your video messages to your future self. So you'll answer questions that will come up on screen and you'll click to the next question. You've got 10 minutes for every recording. Now, for those people who absolutely refuse to get themselves on video, I understand that it is a big, challenging, confronting thing. We do have other options. There's an audio feature where you can just record your voice and lock it away, or you could use the written application. But let me tell you, from pen to paper, from our brain to paper, we lie. We manipulate the words to look a little bit different. By using video, we capture the raw, unguarded essence of who you are today and send that message of love and hope to your future self. So, by the time you complete the Recovery and Beyond program, I would suggest that you've gone through a bunch of activities that have helped you explore your issues, given you courage and tools to move forward. And I'd hope that you could also then use the program for the daily journal option where you can just simply open up the app and do your daily journal. We have a series of questions that will help you identify just what's going on for you today and keep you moving forward towards the future. That's it.
I love that so much because it just seems so helpful in the way that everything's really guided for you, and it just seems really,
Yeah.
really, really therapeutic, actually. And for those who struggle to get to professional help, or maybe are struggling on the wait list, or live in a remote town, or might not have even access to resources, being able to download this app and go online, like, amazing. And you mentioned as well that you've got like multiple programs within it. So you've got like yours, but I know you've got Sonia Johnston on there. There's a lot of
Paris, we
really
love your
incredible people.
we'd love your program on the app too. And to all the coaches out there, anyone who has a specialty in any kind of therapy, or you'd like to share your program, we'd be more than happy to to get you up there. There's a whole it takes a little bit of work. You need to develop your program, but what we then offer is the ability for your clients to be able to connect with you through our platform as well. But yeah, that's
That's so
right. So there is a
exciting.
bunch of other coaches on there as well. Paris, mate, look, I love it. It's like, see, when you get me talking about it's my passion. I've been working on this for a
So
long time.
cool though.
We've
It's so good.
we've developed it so far. Like, I truly believe, um, if you can't see right, but behind me on my backboard, there's a big sign here. It says, um, "Dream Big 2027." Okay, in 2027, I'm going to be in my office in Manhattan, overlooking New York. And Encapsulator is going to be amongst the top 5 mental health and wellness apps in the world. That's all.
Woo! Oh man, I
Yeah,
believe it. I feel
it's happening. It's
it.
happening. It's in the process. Look, it's a
It's fucking
self-counseling
sick.
tool in the palm of your hand, available 24/7 anywhere in the world. Wow.
That's
How incredible.
amazing. So
Uh,
good. This is what I mean.
yeah,
Like, people, we need more resources and support for people out there. And that's a thing I love to yarn about as well, is that, we all know that the supply isn't meeting the demand at the moment. And even with the government funded organizations, like, everyone's just doing the best that they can to support,
yeah,
everyone at the moment. But there's just not enough. There's not enough funding. There's not enough buildings. We have a housing crisis. There's so many people who are experiencing such hardships at the moment who can't all get help. So having something like this, that's incredible, that they can literally just pull up on their phone. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. I also should just give a quick shout out to we also run online support groups for individuals on NDIS as well. I also have
Oh,
other
awesome.
options on a Wednesday night for people who aren't. But if you would like some extra support, we run workshops. I've got about 30 different topics that I run, from acts of kindness, values, affirmations, connection, solution, budgeting, anxiety, grief and loss. The list goes on. Every weekdays, 11 a.m., we come together in a little community. We help individuals get out of some of the isolation of home and learn some tools to
Mm.
assist you in your mental health and wellness. It's not addiction related. It's for people, wanting to break some of the isolation and get connected with our coaches. We've got a bunch of coaches that run our online workshops. So that's called Encapsulator Support, by the way. It's our NDIS life skill development workshops. So that's another thing I do. Paris, I do
Awesome.
about another 5 other things as well, but I won't go into that. I know, it's
Well, so,
crazy. I don't know how I do it all.
oh my god. Well, I'm not surprised. You're so passionate about it. So of course you're doing it all.
Yeah. They all fall really like yeah, it all just lines up. It's just a way that I can support the people that are coming to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think everything that you're doing, Danny, is just incredible. And I think you're such a beautiful person too. Like, there couldn't be anyone better to be supporting people in this way. Like, I think you're just doing incredible things. You should be so fucking proud, man.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Paris. I was gonna throw in a comment. I'm still single, so I still haven't found the apparently the girls don't think that, but well, you do. But anyway, just put that.
I'll spread the word, don't worry.
No, no, no. I'll tell you something funny. You probably like this or agree with this. I don't know actually, but I've got this really incredible mentor who I speak with every single day, and I'm very occasionally I get a couple of messages from people, and she says to me, Danny, she says, you know, they're fans. They don't like you for you. They like you for what you're doing. So you can't even like it doesn't count, Daddy. You know. For, ah. But anyway, I won't go into any more depth with that. But yeah, look, I love my life. I love my life. I smile way too much, and it's my job as a man in recovery and also just a human being to get out here and share my messages of love and hope to anyone out there struggling, Paris. It's my job to do that, you know. The more I give, the more the universe provides, and I only keep what I have by giving it away.
Oh, I love that.
And-
That's amazing, Danny. Well, I'm aware of time, so I know we're going to have
yeah,
to wrap
yeah,
up
cool.
shortly.
Yep,
But
yep.
just quickly for everyone who would be interested in using the Encapsulator program, what are the costs involved?
Yeah, fantastic. So we've been doing so much work around finding a business model that's going to work. At the moment, I think the latest update's been gone through. We have free programs available. They're listed as a light version. They give you a bit of a taste test on what it's like. I believe that you also have the ability to use the written responses for free forever. But if you want to subscribe, it's just $4.99 a month. You can do one program at a time. It's a wonderful way to support me, the founder, and also trust me, our programs will assist you to on your journey of personal development, wellness, and recovery. So, Paris, to answer your question, it's $4.99 a month to subscribe, but there are free options for people who can't afford that too. So please jump on, download the app Encapsulator. It's available on iOS and Android. If anyone wants to reach out to me, you'll find me just under Danny Shannon. I'm very lucky to be verified across all the platforms, including TikTok, which is almost impossible to get done. You certainly can't pay for that. So just Danny Shannon, send me a message. I respond to every single message. The way I wrap up my day, Paris, every day in bed, and this is terrible, this is social media, but I just spend a good hour responding to all the messages that I get throughout the day. And I love, love, love doing that. You know why I love doing it? This is a little bit selfish, but sometimes I hear some beautiful things, you know. Sometimes I hear things that just put me to sleep with a smile on my face. And also, sometimes I get opportunities. People want to book me for this, or they want me to come to Canberra to come to a jail, or yeah. So like, it's one of my favorite things actually. At the end of the night, normally about 10:30, I jump into bed and I spend an hour every single day responding to those messages. So
Well,
yeah,
that's definitely
living the
something
dream, Paris.
yeah, that's definitely something I've noticed about you, Danny, is you really prioritize connecting with your community. And it's
100%.
so
Yep.
true. You actually do
Yep.
respond to every single message,
Every
every single
single
call.
message. Yep.
Yeah.
With an audio
Yeah.
response too. You won't get a text message off me, Pig's ass. I don't text. So don't expect me to be writing anything, guys. Yeah. Thanks,
Even,
Paris.
yeah, now
Paris,
you say it. Now you say it,
I've
I don't
had
think
so
I've ever
much
had
fun.
any text.
No, I've had so much fun today. Thank you so much, Paris. I'm about to go pick up my beautiful daughter from dancing. She's
Yes.
just done jazz, hip hop, ballet, and tap. She's just done 4 hours. I know, what a machine.
4 hours, damn.
From 8:30 to 12:30, she's going to be dancing.
Bloody hell.
I know.
Well, you better go
Well,
get it, Danny.
yeah, I've still got 35 minutes, but thank you, Paris. Honestly, I really, yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
This has, hasn't it? It's been a great chat, and I really, really
I
appreciate
knew
it.
it was going to be. I knew it would be.
Like 2 Ks, love it.
Thank
Well,
you,
thanks for
guys.
coming on, Danny, and I will chat to you later.
Thanks, Paris. Bye bye.
Bye.